Coming up now on Animal Outtakes, a tropical trip back in time. We're visiting one of the oldest botanical gardens in South Florida, where we find a wildlife sanctuary with a mission to provide education encounters and Everglades cultural heritage. And we find out if this burrowing owl sees her shadow. We're in Cape Coral, highlighting the importance of preservation, seeing the power of passionate people in action. Plus, a bead-free Tampa Bay, how the Florida Aquarium is offering free admission in return for those Gasparilla necklaces. Don't go anywhere. Animal Outtakes starts now. For almost 100 years, Flamingo Gardens has grown into its home near Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Established in 1927, it is one of the oldest botanical gardens in the area. It features more than 3,000 species of rare and exotic, tropical and subtropical and native plants and trees. It also houses the largest collection of Florida native wildlife, a place for rehabilitation and repopulation.
This place is like heaven on earth. It's almost like a Garden of Eden here. This is a pretty incredible tree here. The spread is almost 200 feet wide. I mean, you just don't see these trees that big. And this is the Ray Home, which is an historical site. It is the oldest structure in Broward County, west of University Drive. It was built back in the 1929s. He used to own all the land this away for 3 square miles where he had all this citrus. I mean, the Rays have actually been here since 1929. He was in the citrus business. He actually owned 3 square miles of citrus here, and that's how it all really started. And then he started adding all these exotic plants, you know, to the area. And then right around 1960s, he sort of kind of opened it up to the public. He built a tram trail and having people could drive tram cars out here, and he still had the citrus. And the animals all didn't start till right around the end of 1980s is when they brought in the animals. We're basically a 70-acre botanical garden, and then we're a rehab center for Florida native wildlife, and then we also give home to permanently injured Florida native wildlife. And we do have a few parrot species that we rescued from pets.
One of the first of its kind in the country, the sanctuary is a home for permanently injured or non-releasable Florida native wildlife.
We're trying to give the animals a second chance. There's a lot of people involved with every animal we have, from the person who's stopping the traffic to rescuing it, to get it to a rehab facility. And, but we're capable, if the animal could not be released in the wild, we're capable of giving it a home here. And then if that animal happens to produce any offspring while we have it in captivity, their offspring are released back into the wild. On some good years, we sometimes have bred as many as 200 or 300 birds that are released back into the wild from our collection.
The Everglades Wildlife Sanctuary opened in 1990 with the Bird of Prey Center. Next came the half-acre free-flight aviary featuring the 5 ecological zones of South Florida. The 25,000 square foot Everglades Free Flight houses one of the largest collections of wading birds in America.
And it's our aviary is really our biggest and best thing. It's over 30 feet tall. It's designed with 5 ecosystems of South Florida. So you have a coastal prairie, mangrove swamp, cypress forest, hardwood hammock, and sawgrass prairie. And at times we house up as many as 350 birds in there, up to about 90 different species.
Each year, the sanctuary reports about 100 chicks are born in the aviary and Bird of Prey Center. They are raised and then released into the wild to help repopulate their species. There's also Flamingo Pond, where you see a variety of these long-legged beauties. If you take your time and look close enough, you will see the distinct differences in the species.
This is why I came here, was because of the Florida native animals. Like, I've worked at zoos, I've worked with exotic animals, but this was all something new. Nobody was really doing this, and I felt like I wanted to be a part of this. I love Florida, I love it. I used to raise little baby birds when I was a child and stuff. People would bring me and it's something I've been doing my whole life. And when I found out that we actually could breed these animals and release them back into the wild, so it's like we're serving a purpose. It's not like we have animals on display like to make money, that we're actually serving a purpose, and there's just nothing better than to have a baby, release it, and the best feeling in the world is we know that the wildlife we're releasing are breeding in the wild. So we know that because they come back on property every year, and they usually bring juveniles with them. My department consists of 17 animal keepers. I have a person who does only birds of prey, because we have over 24 different species of birds of prey here, consisting of about 69 birds. I have 2 people that do our education programs. We do 3 programs per day for the public, and then sometimes extra for the school kids. I have people that are in sections that do like flamingos, otters, and alligators, and ones that do bear, panther, and this and that. And then the rehab, I have 3 people in rehab.
They also say that they have one of the most successful otter breeding programs in the United States. For otters, the prolific breeders here have produced more than 34 offspring since the program started in 1989. These otters have either been released into the wild or sent to other breeding programs at sanctuaries across the United States. There's also an area where big cats are housed for rehabilitation. Sable is still learning the ropes, but will spend her life here at the gardens.
The cougar is Sable. We named her Sable because the panther is the Florida state mammal, and the sable palm is our state tree, so we sort of named her after our state tree. And she came from another 501c facility up in Georgia. They actually had 2 cubs that were actually bred in captivity, and they did not have room for 2 of them, so they contacted us, and we actually received Sable when she was about 8 weeks of age, and she was bottle raised and hand raised. Right now, she was born September 6th, so right now she's around 22 weeks old. And she's still, we're still going in the cage with her because she has that little bit of separation anxiety. And then we spend time with her, then we try to sneak out of the cage and let her spend some alone time, to try to get used to being by herself.
A butterfly conservatory is a place where butterflies are reared, released, and it's their safe haven. What we do is we rear butterflies, Broward County native butterflies, and we release it into the conservatory because it's native outdoors or now double-doored, so the butterflies can actually come and go. Out here, this is the pollinator garden. So the butterflies that inside the conservatory, as guests go in and go out, the doors open and close, and butterflies like this one will come out, okay? And she's going to go and feed on all the nectar sources that are out available here, okay? All the flowers here are either a nectar source or a host plant. And what are they? Host plants are food for caterpillars, okay? Nectar sources are food for the butterflies.
See some bees too.
Yeah, and bees. Oh, bees. It's not hard at all. You just need to make sure that you have a balance of host plants, nectar source, and that's about it. That's pretty easy. Well, these are pollinators, okay? Without pollinators, we wouldn't have fruits, we wouldn't have vegetables, and we wouldn't have seeds. So it is very, very important. Our goal here is to release 1,000 butterflies a month. And we have achieved that goal, so we're very proud of it. On the trellises here, this is Aristolochia leucanera. That's the host plant to the polydamas specifically. And then you have this trellis over here, This is Passiflora edulis. This one is a host plant to 3 different kind of butterflies. You've got the Julias, the Gulfs, and the zebras. So what we do is we go around the entire 60 acre here and we collect eggs. Okay, we collect the eggs. We have a rearing house all the way in the back in a special area. And we rear it from egg all the way up into the adult, which is the butterfly. After it pupates, that's over here, they pupate, they turn into a chrysalis. Every chrysalis has a different size, shapes, forms for specific butterfly. Once they pupate, we pin them, and every day, twice a day, in the morning, in the afternoon, we do a release here. It's extremely magical. We're here to help repopulate our native butterflies. That's really important to me.
We're averaging over 42,000 school kids come through our environmental education program. We actually have 4 different programs they can take. And we also do a lot of outreach programs to the Title I schools. And it's all about educating. Our kids are our future. I was told I was the future. Well, it's you know, it's not happening, you know, so we got to pass it on, you know, so so we're really educating kids. And a lot of times we like to get the kids young in age. We like to plant that seed, you know, and get them all excited, you know, and it really seems to work, because when they come out of here, you know, they get a whole different understanding. It's a very, very rewarding job. I can't wait to get to work in the morning. That's what kind of job I have. Every animal serves a purpose on this planet. The way I look at it, they were here first. This is their home. We came later, you know. Treat the animals the way you would want somebody to treat you when they walk into your house, you know. And that's the way I look at it. They were here first. So I try to give them as much space and just try to do everything I can. You know, I remember when I first came here 35 years ago, I didn't see herons in this area. I didn't see all these birds on this property. But I know, like the ones we're breeding, we're seeing them here. We've banded quite a few of them. We see them coming back with bands 10, 15 years later. We've seen them come back with babies and stuff with them. Because like I said before, we're more of a feeding zone than we are. And so we know what we're doing. They're actually repopulating. And that's what they're on this planet for. They're here to propagate and to just keep the species going.
For much more about this location and all of the educational programs they have to offer, go to flamingogardens.org. They've also got active social media pages with engaging materials for all ages. And coming up next on Animal Outtakes, the burrowing owls of Cape Coral are back in the spotlight. This time, Athena is taking over Puxatawny Phil, letting Southwest Florida know whether we've got 6 more weeks of winter. That's next.
At Dante's Den Foundation, we let the dogs tell us who they are. We welcome our boarding friends with open arms and open hearts. When your pup spends time with us, we offer a personalized experience, from how they like to play to when they need to relax. Our staff is on site 24/7, and we honor dietary needs along with special requests. We do our best to make it a home away from home by providing a safe and comfortable environment. Dante's Den Foundation. It's a great place to be a dog.
It is said people come from all over the world to visit the burrowing owls in Cape Coral, Florida. And the volunteers with the Cape Coral Friends of Wildlife have a lot to do with the healthy population that currently exists. And that's why events like Ground Owl Day are important to get the word out about these animals, and the grassroots effort that continues to support conserving this protected species.
So today is Ground Owl Day. It's our 8th annual, and it's a little celebration in Cape Coral. It's our unique twist on Groundhog Day, where we find out whether Athene, the burrowing owl mascot, sees her shadow.
She saw her shadow, so that means 6 more weeks of winter.
She did see her shadow, probably because of all the bright sunshine out here this morning. We're an all-volunteer organization. We are dedicated to preserve and protect the wildlife in Cape Coral. We have 500 members and a couple hundred really dedicated volunteers. We put in 12,000 volunteer hours last year. A lot of that goes towards raising awareness of the owls. We maintain owl burrows throughout the city. We respond to problems with the burrows, and we also raise money to purchase habitat for Cape Coral's owls and other wildlife. And we really do make a difference. We have 7,000 owls in Cape Coral, and they would not be here unless all of our volunteers weren't working every year, year-round, to conserve them. The burrowing owl is a threatened species in the state of Florida, so they're under pressure from development, and they happen to find Cape Coral as a really great place to live. Because Cape Coral was developed, although vegetation was knocked down, leaving wide open sandy soil, sort of prairie-like habitat. And so even though this development of Cape Coral was devastating for many wildlife species, it was actually beneficial to the owls. So the owls have gradually moved in, and their population has grown in Cape Coral. So last year we counted just over 7,000 owls. We go out one weekend and our volunteers go up and down every street in Cape Coral and count the owls that we see on that given day. So they're a protected species, so you need to stay 10 feet away from their burrows, and that's why there's these white PVC posts, and we stake them 10 feet away from the burrows so that people don't interfere with the nests and the chicks when they're hatching. Cape Coral's owls are here year-round. The nesting season is officially between February 15th and July 15th. So at that time of the year, they're mostly hanging around the burrows. Otherwise, they might venture away from the burrows, but they always come back, next year. There's lots of other wildlife that lives inside their burrows, so they dig the burrows, but that's good for other wildlife. They eat lots and lots of insects, so that's great for the neighbors. They also eat rodents, so they'll eat rats and mice and those sorts of things. So it's part of the ecosystem. They're beneficial to us in addition to just being cute. If you're interested in helping the burrowing owls, there's about 3 things that we would ask you to consider. One, for all wildlife, is don't use rat poison. Rat poison is eaten by rats and then it's taken outside the trap, and it can cause secondary poisoning. It's a very significant issue for owls and other birds and animals. 2, if you live in Cape Coral, you can put in a starter burrow. And 3, volunteer for us, join us, make a donation to help us conserve land in Cape Coral.
If you'd like to learn more, you can go to ccfriendsofwildlife.org. There's also information about the upcoming Burrowing Owl Festival. It will happen on Saturday, February 28th from 10 to 4 at Rotary Park in Cape Coral. They're offering a full day of wildlife education, hands-on experiences, and fun for all ages. Stay with us. There's more Animal Outtakes coming up next. The Florida Aquarium is hoping you will help protect the bay, one bead at a time, this Gasparilla season. Beads from the popular Gasparilla parade can end up in Tampa Bay. So to help keep these plastics out of the local waterways, the Florida Aquarium partners with the city of Tampa to entice revelers to help recycle their beads. Officials say it's a meaningful tradition that has evolved into a way to protect the environment. As much as it feels fun to throw those beads in the air, sometimes they end up in the bay. The unintended consequence could pose a risk to marine life. Animals may think the beads are food, and the plastic could take more than 1,000 years to break down. So what can we do? We can bring the beads to the aquarium, where every strand collected is sent to the McDonald Training Center, where adults with disabilities clean them up and get them ready to use again. From now until February 22nd, guests can bring in their beads and get 50% off to 4 general admission tickets to the aquarium. Divers from the Florida Aquarium will also conduct a post-parade underwater cleanup. In the past, this kind of effort has recovered 92 pounds of waste. For more about this, you can go to flaquarium.org. And we'll be right back.
Animal Outtakes is produced by Dante's Den Foundation, a nonprofit group dedicated to creating the best life for dogs. If you would like to learn more about Dante's Den, donate, or volunteer, visit our website, dantesden.org.
We hope you had fun and learned a thing or two along the way. And we'll be back here again next week with even more animals and some educational encounters. And until then, thanks for watching. And we find out if this now you got me going. Burrowing owl. I know the burrowing owls. Yes, yeah, I do, yes.